Alright, continuing on. Brother Tian, you are certainly the most reckless one out of all the adversaries I had ever had. Seeing that Ling Huchong is getting stronger and stronger in the fights, yet you still decide not to run away. It's so rare. Brother Tian, if you'll excuse me, I am going to go inside to think a bit more. Help yourself, Tian Boguang only grinned. Ling Huchong walked in the cave slowly, although he had been raving with Tian Boguang as if he had nothing to worry about. In his heart, he was actually getting more and more worried. This villain must have come to Mount Huashan with evil plans. He knows very well that Master and Master Wife went after him in the hope to get rid of him. But why would he still have leisure time to have the contests with me? After he took me prisoner each time, even if he doesn't want to kill me, he should at least have sealed my pressure points to restrict me from moving about. Why did he let me go free again and again? What does he want? He was determined that Tian Boguang must have come to Mount Huashan with a terrifying evil plot, but he had no clue what the plot might be. Could it be that he wanted to keep me here so somebody else can take care of all my apprentice brothers and sisters? But why doesn't he simply kill me right away? Wouldn't that be a lot easier? He couldn't help but ask himself. He thought for quite a while and finally jumped onto his feet, thinking, no matter what, it appears that our Huashan Sword School is in great danger today. Master and Master Wife are not home, and I am the head of the sword school right now. I'll have to carry the heavy burden all by myself. Despite whatever Tian Boguang's purpose is, I must use all my brain to keep pestering him. And if there's ever an opportunity that I can take advantage of him, I should kill him without any hesitation. Linfamy is sus. After making up his mind, he went on studying the drawings on the rock wall, but this time he intentionally picked the fiercest and most vicious and fatal moves to memorize. By the time he walked out of the cave, it was daybreak the next day already. Oh, it's been a day. Although Ling Huchong had the intent to kill, his face looked very relaxed. Brother Tian, you have come to Mount Huashan as a guest, and I am so sorry that I haven't really fulfilled my duty as a host. After this contest, regardless of who wins and who loses, I'll invite you to try out some of our local products, Ling Huchong suggested. Thanks a lot, Tian Boguang smiled. But when we meet again down Mount Huashan in the future, we would still be fighting for our lives. Nothing will be like today's polite contest with counted moves ever again, Ling Huchong declared. It would be a real pity to kill the kind of friend like you, Brother Ling Hu. It would be a real pity to kill the kind of friend like you, Brother Ling Hu. But if I don't kill you, your kung fu would progress too fast. And one day, when your skills are better than mine, you probably wouldn't let me, the evil rapist, go easily, Tian Boguang said. Precisely. It is such a rare opportunity for us to swap pointers in kung fu like today. Brother Tian, I am going to attack now. Will you please give me some advice? You flatter me, Brother Ling Hu. Please, Tian Boguang said courteously. The more I think about it, the more I feel that I am no match for you, Brother Tian, Ling Huchong said with a big smile. Even before he finished the sentence, he had already thrust his sword forward. By the time his sword tip was about 3 feet from Tian Boguang's body, the sword went toward the left side and then turned into a sudden side stab. Tian Boguang raised his knife and blocked. Not waiting for the sword blade to clash with a knife blade, Ling Huchong suddenly slashed up from Tian's crouch. This move was both sinister and fierce to the extreme. Tian Boguang was astounded and immediately jumped back. Ling Huchong followed the initiative and thrust out 3 attacks, each one heading toward Tian Boguang's vital. Oh shit. That was supposed to be. Each one heading toward Tian Boguang's vital parts with all his might. Losing the initiative, Tian Boguang found himself in a disadvantage and had to block left and right with his knife. A tearing sound rose as Ling Huchong's longsword penetrated his pants right next to his right leg, leaving a hole in his pants. The fast sword thrust landed only a mere inch from his leg. Tianbo Guang threw a punch with his right fist, which knocked Ling Huchong rolling on the ground. Every move of yours is aimed at killing me. What kind of swapping pointers is that? He yelled in rage. Well, no matter how hard I try, I still wouldn't stand a chance even harming a hair of yours. You surely have a lot of strength with your left fist. Ling Huchong leapt back onto his feet. Sorry for that, Sorry for that, Tianbo Guang said. I think you broke 2 of my ribs. Ling Huchong stepped forward with a big smile on his face. As he got closer, all of a sudden he passed the sword to his left hand and thrust it out backward in a flash. This unimaginably queer move turned out to be a deadly move of the Hangshang Sword School. In immense astonishment, Tianbo Guang found the sword tip only inches from his lower stomach. In a great hurry, he rolled onto the ground and was able to barely dodge it. Occupying the commanding position, Ling Huchong continued with 4 more thrusts, which put Tianbo Guang in an extremely awkward position. It almost looked as if within a couple more moves, Ling Huchong would succeed, nailing Tian on the ground with his sword. But, unexpectedly, Tianbo Guang threw a kick with his left foot all of a sudden, which landed on Ling Huchong's wrist. He then instantly followed with another kick, his right foot striking Ling Huchong's stomach heavily. Ling Huchong could no longer hold onto his sword. The sword flew out of his grip as he fell down to the ground, facing up. Tianbo Guang leapt up and rushed forward, placing his blade right on Ling Huchong's throat. Very sinister moves indeed. I almost got killed. Are you convinced yet? Tianbo Guang sneered. Of course not. We agreed to a contest between my sword moves and your knife chops. Didn't you just use your fists and legs to throw punches and kicks at me? How should we count the moves now? Even if we count the punches and kicks, it is still less than 30 moves. Tianbo Guang moved his blade away and said with a sneer. Ling Huchong stood up and said angrily, You beat me within 30 moves. You have excellent kung fu. So what? If you want to kill me, then kill me. Why are you laughing at me? If you want to laugh, then laugh. Why are you sneering? Tianbo Guang took a step back. Brother Linghu, you have a good accusation. Yes, I am wrong. He cupped his hands and said, I apologize sincerely. Will you, Brother Linghu, please forgive me? Ling Huchong was struck dumb. Tianbo Guang just had a brilliant victory, yet he was willing to apologize. That's far from what Ling Huchong had expected. So he too cupped his hands and saluted back. That's quite all right, he said as he pondered upon the question. When someone shows great courtesy to his inferior, he must have his purpose. I wonder why he is treating me with such great respect. He pondered over the question, but still couldn't figure it out. So he decided to simply ask about it, straight forth. Brother Tian, I have a question in my mind. Will you please give me a straight answer? He asked. I have no problem telling anything to anyone. For things like raping and looting, murdering and arson, others might try to hide or deny them. When I, Tianbo Guang, want to do something, I'll do it and admit to it. Why bother denying it? Tianbo Guang declared. Then, Brother Tian, are you really an open and above board? Then, Brother Tian, you are really an open and above board, true man, Ling Huchong commented. A true man? You are really flattering me. But at least I am an honest villain whose deeds match his words, Tianbo Guang said. Aha, Brother Tian, people of your type are really rare in the martial world. Will you please answer this question for me? You had planned carefully to lure my master far away from Mount Huashan, and then you came to Mount Huashan and insisted on having me leave together with you. Where on earth do you want me to go, and what's your purpose? I've told you right at the beginning that I am here to invite you to pay a visit to little sister Yilin, so she won't be hurting from love sickness. That is just too absurd and bizarre. I am not a 3-year-old kid. How can I believe you? Ling Huchong shook his head. Tianbo Guang was enraged. I consider you a true hero, but you are treating me like I am the shameless, low-life scoundrel. Why can't you trust my words? Are you thinking that all the words that are coming out of my mouth are just crap? If there were anything untrue in my words, I would be even lower than a filthy pig, he snapped. Feeling the sincerity in his words, Ling Huchong had to believe in him. and at the meantime, he was totally amazed. Brother Tian, your submitting to become little sister Yilin's apprentice was just a joke, not to be taken seriously. Why did you come such a long way to invite me? For her sake, he asked in disbelief. Of course, there are other reasons involved. Just with her little kung fu, how could she ever be worthy to be my master? Tian Boguang looked quite embarrassed. Ling Wuchang suddenly got an idea. He thought to himself, could it be possible that Tian Boguang has fallen in love with apprentice sister Yilin, and all his previous ill intention has transformed into deep affection? Have you fallen in love with little sister Yilin at first sight and are most willing to do what she tells you? Ling Wuchang asked. You can stop imagining things. There's nothing even close to that. Tian Boguang shook his head. Then what are the other reasons involved? Brother Tian, will you please share those with me? Ling Wuchang demanded. This is the worst luck for me. Why ask so much? Why ask so much? In short, if I can't invite you down Mount Huashan, I will die a dreadful death, Tian Boguang answered. How could that be possible? Ling Wuchang was shocked, yet he didn't even bat an eyelid. Tian Boguang pushed up his clothes and... Wait. Nope, that's a misplaced quote. Tian Boguang pushed up his clothes and exposed his chest, pointing at two red spots as big as a coin right below his two nipples. He exclaimed, Somebody has sealed my death points here, and also planted a strong poison in my body so he can force me to come and invite you to pay a visit to the little sister. If I fail to accomplish the mission, then the two red spots will start to deteriorate and fester. By then, there will be no cure whatsoever, and they will gradually expand all over my body until my entire body starts to decompose. After 3 years and 6 months, I will eventually die because of the rotting. With a serious look on his face, he spoke again. Brother Linghu, I am just telling the truth, not because I want to earn your pity or anything. I just want you to know that no matter how persistent you are, I am determined to have you comply. I am open at all options and at all cost. On normal days, I already stop at no evil. At a life-threatening moment like this, I would have no scruples. Oh, so he's like sick. He's sick and someone sealed his death points, which would make him die after 3 years and 6 months. Yilin forced Tian Boguang to invite. I don't think Yilin forced him though. Like, she's not that kind of a person, right? I think something else is going on. And Yilin doesn't have the power to seal his death points. It seems like he is telling the truth, Ling Wuchang thought to himself. Then all I need to do is to not go down Mount Huashan with him. A month later, when the poison in his body activates, the world will be rid of a big villain. There's really no need to kill him myself. So he said to Tian Boguang with a smile, which elite master was so mischievous to have done such a practical joke and gave you such a puzzle to solve? I wonder what kind of poison was planted in your body. Even the most dangerous poison can be detoxified somehow. There's no need to mention the one who sealed my death points and planted poison in me. Other than the one who did it, there's only one other person in the entire world who might be able to detoxify the poison in my death points. Killer Dr. Ping One Finger. But why would he want to work on me? Tian Boguang said irritably. You can either beg him with polite words or threaten him with your knife on his neck. Maybe he might consider working on you, Ling Wuchang said with a small grin. You can save all your sarcasm to yourself. In brief, if I can't get you to go with me, then I will be dead for sure. But you won't be able to stay safe either. Of course, Brother Tian, all you need is to beat me fair and square and make me feel sincerely convinced. Then, in consideration of your great kung fu skills that you took quite some hard work to master, I might just agree to go down Mount Huashan with you. Will you please wait for me a bit more? I'm going to enter the cave to think again. He entered the cave, thinking to himself, that day when I fought with him for several times, I was able to fight over 30 moves every time. How come I've actually slipped back now and simply can't take 30 of his moves anymore? Soon, he figured it out. That's right. That day when I fought with him, ready to die at any moment, I never cared if it was 30 moves or 40 moves. Right now, I can keep counting the first move. Right now, I keep counting the first move, the second move, the third move. All I care about is how to take on the full set of 30 moves. With such distraction, then inevitably my sword skill is only half good compared to the last time. Ling Hu Chong, how dumb you are. Ping one finger? Yeah, that's funny. After figuring the problem out, he was greatly encouraged and went on to study the kung fu on the rock wall. This time he focused on the Taishan style sword art. Taishan style sword art was distinctively strong in its stableness and steadiness. Within such a short time, it would be impossible to truly grasp the essence of it. Besides, Ling Wuchang wasn't too fond of the rigorous and well-behaved sword style either. He looked at the moves for a little while and was ready to leave, when the nimble and agile moves of a short spear used to break Taishan-style sword art caught his eyes. The more he studied them, the more fascinated he became, and soon he was so focused in it that he lost track of time, until Tianbo Guang became impatient about the waiting and called him. The two fought again. By then, Ling Huchang became a little bit wiser and never bothered to count the moves again. As soon as the fight broke out, he waved his sword in different directions and launched a storm of attacks upon Tianbo Guang. Seeing the new sword moves emerging out of Ling Huchang in an endless stream, and that every time after he thought about it in the cave, he would add many new meanings to the moves, Tianbo Guang dared not to slack off. The two countered fast with faster and exchanged many moves within a short moment. Suddenly, Tianbo Guang took a step forward, reaching out and grabbed onto Ling Huchang's wrist in the speed of a flash. He twisted Ling Huchang's arm back and pointed the sword tip right at Ling Huchang's throat. If he had wanted to, he could have pushed the sword forward and the long sword would have penetrated Ling Huchang's throat. You lost! Tianbo Guang yelled out. It was you! You lost! Ling Huchang claimed as great pain came from his wrist. How did I lose? Tianbo Guang asked. This is the 30-second move, Ling Huchang declared. 30-second move? Tianbo Guang asked in disbelief. Yep, 30-second move, precisely, Ling Huchang acknowledged. You weren't counting. Tianbo Guang didn't buy it. Well, I wasn't counting with my tongue, but I was counting in my heart. It was plain and clear. This is the 30-second move, Ling Huchang affirmed. Actually, he never really counted in his heart. The 30-second move thing was just something he made up on the spot. That can't be true. Tianbo Guang let go of Ling Huchang's wrist and argued. You thrust like this with your first move, and I counterattack like this. You then blocked it like this, and I chopped it like this. That was the second move. He went on and was actually able to demonstrate every single move used in the last fights from the very beginning to the very end. After he counted to the move when he grabbed onto Ling Huchang's wrist, it was only the 28th move. Wow, he was able to remember the entire fight. Ping one finger is famous for flipping off everyone. Good job, Nikki. Ling Huchang was immensely amazed at Tianbo Guang's ability memorizing. The two of them had fought with tremendous speed, yet he was able to memorize every single move so clearly in the exact order. That's some kind of talent one simply wouldn't see very often in the martial world. Ling Huchang couldn't help but admire. He stuck his thumb out. Brother Tian, you have superb memory. I must have counted wrong. Let me go to think them over again. Wait, Tianbo Guang stopped him. Something is really odd about this cave. I'd like to go in and take a look. Are there secret kung fu manuscripts hidden in the cave? Why is it that every time after you come out of the cave, You add many strange moves to your collection. He started walking toward the cave. Uh-oh. Ling Wuchang was stunned. He thought quickly. If he finds out about the drawings on the rock wall, it would be disastrous. He immediately showed a brief straight trace of happiness on his face, and soon replaced it with a sad and worried look as he extended his arm out to block Tianbo Guang's way. We have our school's secret kung fu manuscripts in the cave. Brother Tian, you are not a member of our Huashan sword school. You can't go in there to tour around. Sorry. Noticing the very brief happy look on Ling Huchong's face that was quickly replaced by some kind of very exaggerated worried look, probably something he put out as a show, Tianbo Guang pondered. Why was he so happy as soon as he heard that I wanted to go in the cave? He pretended to be worried immediately afterwards. Obviously, he was trying to hide his true feelings and hoped that I would rush into the cave recklessly. There must be something in that cave that would be detrimental to me. Probably some kind of booby trap or ambush, or maybe some kind of poisonous serpent or monster he has tamed. I am not going to fall for it. I see. So there are secret kung fu manuscripts of your respectful school. Then it wouldn't be appropriate for me to go tour around, indeed. Yang Guang pretended to agree. Ling Wuchang shook his head and appeared to be very disappointed. Later, he went back into cave several more times and learned about many more strange and weird moves. Not only unique moves of the 5 mountain sword schools, but also many of those odd moves that would break the sword art of the 5 mountain sword schools. But in the rush, he couldn't truly understand the essence of them, and because he had used them right after he picked them up minutes ago, their power was dramatically reduced, and he still couldn't take on 30 moves of Tianbo Guang's fast knife chops. Xiao Guang couldn't understand why every time after Ling Hushang entered the cave to think more, he would be able to perform many odd and strange moves. Those odd and strange moves weren't really useful in countering his own knife moves, but they were also clever and brilliant that he had never seen anything like them in his entire life. It was almost like an amazing demonstration, and he secretly wished that the contest would go on so he would be able to observe more of the fantastic sword moves. After Tianbo Guang subdued Ling Huchang another time, noticing that it had already passed noon, he suddenly thought of something. Most of the moves he used this time seemed to have been moves of Songshang style sword art. Could it be possible that there are elite grandmasters of the 5 mountains sword alliance hiding in that cave? Every time when he goes into that cave, those elite grandmasters would then teach him some new moves, and then send him out to fight me. Oops, oops, suddenly, oops. Luckily, I didn't rush in that cave recklessly. How can I stand a chance fighting the many elite grandmasters of the 5 mountains sword alliance? At that thought, he blurted out, "Why don't they come out?" Who? Ling Huchang asked. Those elite senior grandmasters in the cave who taught you all those sword moves, Yang Guang answered. Ling Huchang was taken by surprise, but then immediately understood what Tian Guang meant. He let out a big smile. Those senior grandmasters, they don't feel like fighting you, brother Tian. Tian Guang was outraged. He gave a very disgruntled snort and then yelled out loudly, I know these kinds of people. They fish for fame and compliments and profess to be above politics and worldly considerations. They feel it's beneath their dignity to fight me, the evil rapist, Tianpo Guang. You let them out. As long as we are fighting one-on-one, regardless of how big of a reputation he has, he might not be able to defeat me. Brother Tian, if you are interested, go ahead and enter the cave to consult those 11 senior grandmasters. They actually think your knife skills are quite excellent. Ling Huchang shook his head and said with a grin. Ling Huchang knew that hence Tian Boguang had committed many I think it means Ling Hucheng knew that since Tian Boguang had committed many crimes in the martial world and had made many enemies, he had always been very careful in normal days. Now, since he has assumed that there are elite grandmasters from various schools in the cave, he would never risk going in the cave, no matter how he was goaded. He intentionally used such an odd number, 11 instead of 10, to make it sound real. Surely enough, Tian Boguang snorted and said, "What elite senior grandmasters? I'm afraid they are all the ones with undeserved reputation. Otherwise, why, after teaching you all kinds of moves again and again, you still can't even take on 30 moves of mine?" He was quite confident about his Qigong skills and thought that even if those 11 elite masters all rushed out at the same time, although he wouldn't stand a chance winning the fight, at least he would stand a very good chance of running away successfully. And besides, because all of them were elite senior grandmasters of the Five Mountains Sword Alliance, they would value their own dignity dearly and never launch a joint attack at him. Ling Wuchang put on a serious face. "That's only because I am dumb and clumsy, with very limited inner energy, and couldn't grasp the essence of those senior grandmasters' kung fu. Brother Tian, you'd better watch your mouth and not upset them. If any one of them decided to fight you, you don't even have to wait for your poison to activate a month from now. Your head would be missing from your neck on top of the cliff of contemplation instantly." "Why don't you tell me who those senior grandmasters are in the cave?" Tian Boguang demanded. "Those senior grandmasters have lived in seclusion and lived a hermit's life for a long time already. They have withdrawn from society for many years. Their gathering here has nothing to do with you, Brother Tian. Their names can't be revealed. But even if I do tell you who they are, you wouldn't have heard of their names anyway. There's no need to tell. No need to tell." Ling Huchang had a very secretive look on his face. Such a bullshitter, guys. Seeing the odd expression on Ling Huchong's face, Tian Boguang was almost sure that Ling Huchong was trying to hide the truth. So he said, "Within Songshan, Taishan, Tangshan, and Hangshan, the four schools, there may be some exceptional senior grandmasters. But in your respectful school, though, there isn't any grandmasters left at all. Everybody knows about that. Everybody knows about that in the martial world. You must be talking irresponsibly and making things up. It's hard for me to believe you." That's right, there really isn't any elite senior grandmasters left in the Huashan Sword School. Many years ago, our school was so unfortunately hit by plagues, and all the elite fighters in the last generation withered and passed away. Remember, that's the outside story that the Huashan School told people, right? Instead of saying like they had a civil war, they told people outside that there was a plague that killed a lot of the people at the school. Brother Xian, you have said it correctly. There really is no Grandmaster of our Huashan Sword School in the cave, Ling Hucheng affirmed. Jian Boguang was convinced that Ling Hucheng must have been lying to him. When he said something false, then it should be true. If he had said that there weren't any senior grandmasters left in Huashan Sword School, then there must be someone. He pondered over it for a long time and suddenly remembered something. He slapped his thigh with his palm and shouted out loud, "Aha! I remember now. So it is Senior Grandmaster Feng Qingyang." Ling Hucheng instantly remembered the characters Feng Qingyang carved on the rock wall in the cave and couldn't help but utter a cry of surprise. He wasn't pretending this time and was stunned when he thought that the Senior Grandmaster Feng might still be alive. Regardless of what the truth was, he waved his hand in denial, hurriedly. "Brother Tian, please don't talk irresponsibly. Feng. He figured that since the name Feng Qingyang has a Qing character in it, then he must be from a more senior grand generation than Master's Bu generation. So he continued with his sentence. So each generation has like a middle name, I guess. A character in their name. So his Master's generation has a Bu character, and Qing is the character for people above his Master's generation. Grand Uncle Master Feng has quit the martial world to live in seclusion many, many years ago. Nobody knows where he is, and no one is even sure that the respectful Grand Uncle Master is still alive or not. How can he be on Mount Huashan right now? If you don't believe me, then you'd better go in the cave and take a look yourself. Then you will know the truth. The more Ling Huchang wanted Tian Boguang to go in the cave, the more Tian Boguang believed that it was a trap. He thought to himself, he looks so panic-stricken. He must have figured it out all right. Oh, I must have figured it out right. I heard that many of the senior Huashan Sword School grandmasters all died unusual deaths in a single night, except Feng Qingyang, who happened to be away from Mount Huashan at the time and escaped that doom. So it turned out he is still alive, but he would be at least somewhere between 70 and 80 years old. No matter how high his kung fu level is at, he would have exhausted his strengths after all. The hell with him. Why should I be afraid of such a rotten old man? At that thought, he said to Ling Huchong, Brother Ling Hu, we have already fought an entire day and an entire night. Even if we keep fighting, you wouldn't stand a chance beating me. Although you have your Grand Uncle Master Feng to give you pointers continuously, it's useless after all. Why don't you just behave yourself and follow me down the Mount Huashan? Before Ling Huchong had a chance to answer, a cold voice suddenly rose from behind his back. If I had a... Well, I ruined that introduction. If I had really given him some pointers, don't you think he... If I had really given him some pointers, don't you think he can even take care of a chap like you? I doubt that. So someone is in the cave. I wonder who it is. Well, that whole chapter was just them fighting. But it looks like Ling Huchang learned a lot of moves from all of the different schools, right? So I guess a good thing that came out of it was that he now has this catalog of moves of all of the other schools, right? And even like the really good moves, the really advanced moves. Yeah, that might come into that might give him some advantages in fights later on. Your money is on the man in green? It's got to be that man in green, right? Yeah, but we don't know who that man is, right? Yeah, it's got to be that man in green because they like he showed up like twice already. So yeah, but we still don't know who he is. So yeah, even if it was that guy, we gotta know who that guy is. Ling Hu has gone farther down the evil way. He is following the sword focused side of the school again. Yep, I will say that he is. He is following the sword side, not the chi side, right? If he was following the chi side, he would be in the cave, just cultivating his chi, just like training his chi, just sitting down, cross-legged and going like something. They have a lot of things that you do to train your chi. But yeah, but all he's doing is doing the sword stuff. Tokyo Hub. What are some upcoming video? Do you like Studio Ghibli movies? That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say. Alright guys. I have some Jack Daniels. We do the usual thing to end the stream. Let's take a shot. All right. Cheers. Good stuff. Oh, full screen. Sorry. Whew. Chibberly Kid, you love my content. Thank you so much. I love your comments. All right, guys. Thanks for coming. And I hope you like this chapter. I think that some stuff's going to happen next chapter. Yeah. Or either next chapter or then the chapter after that. All right, guys. I love you. And I'll see you next time.